Although most educated people know about the Nuremberg trials of the senior Nazis after World War II, relatively few are at all cognizant of the International Military Tribunal of Japanese war criminals at Tokyo, which concluded in 1948. In all, some 920 Japanese war criminals were executed, 475 received life sentences, and 2,944 prison sentences of varying lengths. Yet as this well-researched and searing book proves beyond doubt, tens of thousands, perhaps more, Japanese war criminals escaped punishment altogether. This book expertly examines the religious, psychological, societal, political, and other factors that turned the Japanese armed forces of 1927 to 1945 into such an astoundingly vicious killing and raping machine. Dr. Brian Rigg writes of a dark web of complicity, where the monarchy, government, military, and religions of Japan all played their part in reinforcing totalitarianism, fanaticism, and the perpetration of mass murder. Dr. Rigg analyzes unflinchingly all the myriad ways that Imperial Japan abused the countries that fell under the yoke of its so-called Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere, the title intended to hide the reality of life and death of an empire that at one point stretched over no less than 1/7 of the planet. Dr. Rigg lays bare the truth behind the monstrous culture behind Bushido, banzai attacks, which accounted for 200,000 out of Japan's 1.4 million soldiers killed, samurai honor, seppuku, mass suicide, jikyusen, attritional strategy, kamikaze, and so on. He shows how, far from being an ancient and noble calling, Bushido was in fact little more than a necro-sadistic death cult steeped in the blood of innocents, with no uplifting features. Small wonder, therefore, that it appealed, and indeed still appeals today, to fascists, nihilists, and totalitarians. The author is rigorous in his examination of each of these phenomena, and more, which dealt such untold misery to so many millions of people across so much of the globe. When the war ended, there were 5.2 million Japanese soldiers stationed in China alone. Nor did the death cult succeed even according to its own lights, because Japan lost the war. Cultural norms, religious creeds, and moral codes break down under extreme physical and mental stress, the author points out. All too often, it came down to Japanese officers killing their own men to prevent surrenders, once it became clear that fighting spirit alone was not enough to bring victory. Imperial Japan's armies had been defeated in Burma, the Pacific, and elsewhere before the atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, yet as Dr. Rigg proves beyond doubt, it was essential to drop them because they saved